We are live. We are live. We are live. Welcome back to Talk Live, ladies and gentlemen, on IG and YouTube. Sorry for the delay. Technical issues have disbarred me from proceeding as such. I'm just getting live on Instagram. Give me 1 second. Here we go. And here we go. Back on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Right now. Here we go. Yes. Welcome back to Talk Live, ladies and gentlemen, live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We are live on Instagram. We are live on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Again, sorry for the delay, but we are sponsored by Duntalk, DUNTLK.com. And hope you had a good week. Back again for another week of Talk Live tonight and tomorrow. We'll see what happens on Saturday. But thank you very much for joining me here. Yes, very good week thus far. Yes. Commiserations to our Canadian women, but also prayers and thoughts and prayers go out to Jesse Jackson, who passed away just a couple of days ago. He was leader of the Rainbow Coalition. Also, he was a noted civil rights leader and politician as well. And it is a massive fundraiser and one who spoke for justice. For truth and justice throughout, not only throughout the United States, but throughout the world, and also brokered some peace agreements in the past. So my condolences to Reverend Jesse Jackson and his family at this time. I know they're going through a terrible time, but he was a man who truly uplifted the Black diaspora, and it is hoped that he can now finally rest in peace. Thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live, ladies and gentlemen. We are back and we are live here. And again, let's get into it. We were speaking on politics, as Reverend Jesse Jackson was wont to do. He was a noted statesman and politician during his time here with us on this planet. But again, we're speaking on two other, contemporary statesman, one whose true class has been shone through the last days and weeks, in which he was vilified and quite simply racistly outraged, and that was Barack Obama. And Barack Obama has always had a level of class, had a level of simple grace and dexterity and elegance, and and showmanship and statesmanship about him, and competence. And no matter what side of the aisle you may come on, you may be on for a certain time, I think Barack's stature within not only U.S. politics, but also throughout the world is unparalleled. It's unmatched, and pretty much is one of the greater presidents of the 21st century, and one of the greatest presidents of all time, to be fair. But again, we are here discussing, unfortunately, some of the lowlights regarding the former president Barack Obama, and that came from the one and only Donald J. Trump. And it seems that whenever Barack is being revered as a statesman, it seems that Donald would like to tear a strip off of him and really try to tear him down in order to, aggrandize himself, in order to make himself a better statement, to make himself a better person. But at the end of the day, as we will see tonight, that is literally not the case. So we're going to get into it right now, Talk Live, with this first video, ladies and gentlemen. So let me get on to the Ubiest Tubiest. And yes, indeed, we are good to go there. Oh, yes, here we go. There we go. Yes. So let's get into this YouTube video from the one and only, yes, Meg V. Meg V doing wonderful things YouTube streams. Like and subscribe to Meg V. She put together a compilation of what happened with Barack Obama during this last All-Star game. I'm just going to widen the screen on this. But yeah, do give Meg V a like and a follow. I don't know if she's a real person, but anyways, she put together a compilation here with regards to Barack Obama and and how some people feel about Barack Obama just after his appearance at the NBA All-Star Game this past weekend. So we're going to get into it here on Talk Talk Live. We're not going to waste any more time, and we're going to just bask in the glow and the reverence of Barack Obama. Now remember, Barack Obama was had a racist. Um, a racist post made up of him that was actually posted on True Social, which is Donald J. Trump's platform, and he left it up there for 12 hours. He never took it down, and with that, you'll see the ramifications of his misdoings and his quote-unquote apology with regards to how his gaffe was basically pilloried throughout the world, and through like-minded and right-minded individuals, and also in U.S. politics. So we're gonna get into this right now. This is the love that Barack Obama has felt, and how people feel about Barack Obama. So we're gonna get into that right now on Talk Live. Shout out to Lana BK, and we're gonna get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live. That's Reggie Miller right there, former NBA All-Star NBA player. That's Giannis Antetokounmpo. Sorry, I hope you can hear me there. That's Giannis Antetokounmpo, and also who just left there, that was Reggie Miller. If you did not know who they were, again, huge fans of Barack Obama. But again, this is the NBA. This is everyone sees Barack Obama as the man to meet at any All-Star game, at any occasion in the NBA, because of Barack's love of basketball. His new presidential library includes a full-length NBA court within its confines, and I think that's opening up in June 2026. But you can see more of the love here. That's Giannis Antetokounmpo and his kids. More well wishers shaking his hand. We're going to move forward a little bit with this. There we see Magic Johnson. And he's sitting next to the one and only Dr. J. Julius Erving. Gary Payton. Queen Latifah. I mean, it's customary for all black voters within the United States to revere this man, Barack Obama. So again, he is seen as royalty, American royalty. So again, anytime he's in a crowd or in an audience, quite simply, every black celebrity or anybody of influence who are within his auspices would love to get a handshake and a picture with the one and only Barack Obama. There's NBA commissioner. They're just doing an interview for NBA, NBA and national media.
The beautiful Obama family was in attendance last night at the NBA All-Star Game held in LA on Sunday, February 15th. And baby, when I tell you they received a standing ovation, but no one is surprised that they did,
Yep.
take a listen to the video. And that right there, it proves that the Obamas, baby, they are still loved. They still have so many people that love and support them. And baby, I am one of them ones. Now, we already know that the haters going to have something to say because, baby, that's all they know how to do is hate. But again, that's okay. Those of us that still support them, baby, when I saw this video, I was literally smiling from ear to ear. I don't know what it is about them, but baby, every time I see them doing something, I am smiling from ear to ear. They are true leaders, and that's what we like to see.
Obama was spotted at the NBA All-Star Game, and take a listen to how he was received. That's right, he was received with cheers, as opposed to Donald Trump, who gets booed at football games. Or people like J.D. Vance, who gets booed on the world stage at the Winter Olympics. I don't know about you, but I sure miss the dignity that we used to have under Obama and how we were actually respected on the world stage.
Absolutely right there, said by Ed Krasenstein. It's true. I mean, being Canadian, the world looks at Obama as being the last true American president, statesman, and he is revered throughout the world. No matter where he goes, he's basically mobbed by crowds, and he is a symbol of American excellence, not just Black excellence, American excellence. And it is wonderful to see such a rapturous ovation and welcome from him, despite people trying to you know decry his character and try to slur his dignity by making posts on True Social. And quite simply, it's disgusting, if not vile, to see it happen. But it's to see it coming from an American president and left up for 12 hours is truly beneath his office. And if he could be impeached, he would be. But again, everybody has a right to free speech, and so be it. But the Obamas handled it in their own classy way, and they should be commended for it. Let's continue.
NBA All-Star Game plus a little Obama Hope Court. Check it out. Standing ovation courtside, beautiful. Next, we get a little clip of the humor.
Favorite moment during that time in Chicago during the 90s? I always enjoyed watching us beat Indiana. Oh my goodness. Although I will do that to me. I knew you were going to say that. I will say that nobody terrified me more than Reggie Miller with a possible three-point shot at the end of a game.
And you know what? Give this guy guy a spotlight. He is one of the better witted individuals in world politics, and basically of public figures. He is truly has amazing comedic chops. And if he had a writer on his own, he could execute flawlessly, as was seen from his press freedom of the press conferences that he had in prior years, and the amount of humor that he gave with those days when he was in office. Quite simply, his wit is unmatched. Let's continue.
You give Obama a chance to talk about the 90s Bulls. You did it to yourself, Reggie. I'm sorry, buddy. Next up, Devin Booker. Steph Curry with them before the game. Freak Giannis with him before the game. Anthony Edwards saying he was his favorite person in the world, all the way to him winning the MVP of the All-Star game, and he had to put a show on for Obama. And that's why Donald Trump can't stand the Obamas, because they will always be popular. They will always be culturally relevant. And that is what goes through his mind. With the people, courtside, everyone coming up to him. You can't teach that, Trump.
Here's the thing. Barack Obama's been gone for 12 years. He has not been the American president. Again, there's a certain amount of gravitas, a certain amount of celebrity that surrounds the fact that Obama's been out of office for at least 10 years, if not 11 years. But still, he is so well loved and so revered by the people. Now, again, his politics may irk some, and that is their right to have a difference of opinion with regards to how things should be run in within the dominion that is the United States. However, let's face facts. Donald J. Trump will never have the sort of just magnetic personality that Barack Obama has, even though as hard as he tries, and his actions speak louder than words, quite simply. And even though, let's face facts, there were times in which Barack didn't give himself good graces, especially amongst black men, by basically asking them to telling them if you didn't vote, then you didn't love black women, or you didn't love your mama, or anything as such. I mean, that is just simple guttural politics, that needs to be done away with. But I think Barack realized his mistake, and is trying to make amends to the people, because he realized that men were neglected, and Donald J. Trump took up for this, and this is part of it. This is part of the reason why he got elected, is that Trump realized that there were a huge amount of voting men that were neglected by the Democratic Party, and he seized upon it. And I think Barack saw that mistake and wants to make amends for that. But again, his campaign. His campaigning for Kamala Harris during the last election wasn't exactly stellar, but I think he realized mistakes and has decided to move forward with class and grace. Let's continue.
It's Joe from Georgia. If you want to see the difference in respect for people, all you got to do is look at tonight's NBA All-Star game. And then I'll tell you where you can show for the other person they get no respect. Barack Obama, when he entered the stadium there tonight for the NBA All-Star game, he got a standing ovation. Everyone in the place rose for him. Huge amount of cheering. And that's for Barack Obama. Well, just the other day, Donald Trump had an event at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where he was going to be speaking to troops. Well, as he walked up to the stage, it was silent. You could hear a pin drop. The president stopped, looked at the people. He cupped his hand to his ear. It was like, I need to hear applause, is what he was saying. And there was a few people clapped for him. Now, there's the difference. Folks, the reason he didn't get applause, they don't like him. Barack Obama walks into a place and the place goes to a standing ovation. Now, that's the difference. Barack Obama earned respect as president of the United States. President Trump is just demanding it, whether he earns it or not.
And also, he's also taking nameplates down, like the Kennedy Kennedy Center for the Arts is now the Donald J. Trump and John F. Kennedy Center for the Arts. He's literally stealing other people's shine so that he gets shine himself, which is shameless. Shameless behavior on the part of this president. He begs for respect when other people are given to them freely. And as the man says here in his caption, respect is earned, and we know who of the two has earned it. It's the truth. And Trump, outside of his normal constituency and supporters, is understanding that his adulation is not earned. It's literally demanded, and pleaded for ad nauseum by the commander in chief himself. Let's continue. And again, he's president commander in chief, but is he commander in chief of the people? I don't know. Let's continue.
So, folks, remember, you have to earn respect. It's not given.
Happy President's Day, everyone.
Let's go back to that one more time.
Or not. So, folks, remember,
one more time, people.
Respect. It's not given.
Happy President's Day, everyone. So, as y'all could see, President Obama was at the NBA All-Star game a couple days ago, and it's just so amazing to see that he still commands the applause and the presence that he had when he was still in office. And it's just so heartwarming to see, especially after the events that transpired last week with that crazy video that the White House released of them, him and Michelle being portrayed as like apes or monkeys. And
absolutely, it's beneath the office of the White House. There should be a full apology from Donald Trump, but in lockstep with his personality, you're not going to hear from him because he is classless when given the opportunity, and he's shown his true colors once again. Let's continue.
And it just really goes to show you that if you use the presidency for good and actually try to make changes for the people, people will always give you the respect that you deserve. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Obama was perfect. No president is going to satisfy everybody. It's just impossible. But just to know that he's the celebrity, and he was not even a celebrity at this point. I think he is, because I mean, this really just proved it. But just the fact of people waiting in line to take pictures with him, even people and like the players bringing their children up to take pictures with them. I dare one of these athletes or anybody bring your children to take a picture with Donald Trump. You'll never see that happen. But of course, unless it's a regular MAGA person, of course, they probably would have no problem with it. When you run the presidency with honor and you respect your nation and try to run it with class and humility, you're going to get that in return. But no, the man we have in the White House right now wants to be a dictator, and it's all about him, and all about how he could make the presidency benefit him instead of the nation. You could come in here, I don't care.
And very well said. I think that was McVie right there in stating her piece about Barack Obama in contrast to Donald Trump. And she is right on that part. Barack Obama isn't perfect, but what he is extremely excellent at is displaying a level of class, a level of dignity, a level of dexterity, and a level of statesmanship, demanding of his stature, demanding of his celebrity, demanding of his former office. And you will not hear many, if not any, people outside of racists themselves demean the Barack Obama simply because they can't beat him. And neither can Donald Trump, unfortunately. And that has been clear to see over the last days and weeks. And there's a reason why Donald J. Trump is in the stands when he is speaking to the public, or on a pulpit away from the public itself, outside of his constituency. And when he's there, he hears boos. When Barack Obama, he is just drowned out by cheers of his adoring public. Let's continue. Oh, thank you very much, Rebecca V here. But we're going to move forward with another video coming from MSN Now. And Barack Obama recently had an interview, the first interview after on President's Day, and he is here with, I believe, yes, Brian Tyler Cohen, his interview there, and quite simply, he was magnificent once again. He's so good in these interviews. He's just a life force, and if you want to know about how to carry yourself with an interview, please look at Barack Hussein Obama. Let's continue.
He's been in the news for a couple reasons. One, he sat down for a lengthy interview with a hit liberal podcaster, Brian Tyler Cohen. You may have seen his face or have heard of him. This is what we're seeing different politicians do more and more of. Obviously, anyone on any channel would kill for an Obama interview right now. Well, Cohen got it. And this is a rarity because the former president doesn't do a lot of long interviews these days, doesn't get pulled into every Trump debate. And so he was asked about and made his first public comments about.
Well, that's outside of his, I wouldn't say it's an interview, but that's outside of his wife's podcast, which has differing views, to be fair. But again, some things I agree with, some things I don't. But, he's always respected wherever he goes. Let's continue.
Donald Trump's viciously racist online post about
shout out DJ Ace,
which was later taken down. Here was the response.
As I'm traveling around the country, as you're traveling around the country, you meet people. They still believe in decency, courtesy, kindness. And there's this sort of clown show that's happening in social media and on television. And what is true is that there doesn't seem to be any shame about this among people who used to feel like you had to have some sort of decorum and a sense of propriety and respect for the office, right? So that's been lost.
And you know who he's referring to there, don't you? The 45th president of the United States. That's who he's referring to. Actually, 46 now. It's 46 because Joe Biden. What's the 47? 47th. 47 because Joe Biden's 46, he's 47. So 45th and 47th President of the United States, one Donald J. Trump. Let's continue.
But the reason I point out that I don't think the majority of the American people approve of this is because ultimately the answer is going to come from the American people.
When he first came into office, Obama was one of the younger modern presidents, on par with Clinton or Kennedy rather than Trump or Biden.
Just a note, if you didn't know, Barack Obama came into office when he was 46 years old. He's 64 now, but he was 46-year-old then. So he was a very young president compared to the likes of Bill Clinton and also John F. Kennedy. Let's continue.
And he discussed how elder Democrats need to be open to the younger generation.
I'm pretty healthy, 64. Feel great.
Yeah.
But the truth is, half of the references that my daughters make about social media, TikTok, etc., I don't know who they're talking about.
Yeah.
There is a element of, at some point, you age out. You're not connected directly to the immediate struggles that folks are going through. I'm not making a hard and fast rule here, but I do think that Democrats do well when we have candidates who are plugged into the moment, to the zeitgeist, to the times, and the particular struggles that folks are thinking about as they look towards the future rather than look backward toward the past. That spirit, that energy, it's out there, and you can feel it, but it's bottled up. We haven't given enough outlets for young people to figure out, how do I become a part of that?
And you know what he's speaking to right there? He's speaking to young men. And I think that's one thing that the Democrats dropped the ball on, and he is ad nauseum said was a problem for Democrats. They did not reach young men in the last election. They reached minorities, they reached LGBTQ, they reached women, but they did not reach young men, and that was a problem. And a lot of young men went away from Obama at that time, even when Obama mistakenly used shaming tactics in order to try to bring young men, especially young African Americans, on side. through shame, guilt, insults. Well, I wouldn't say insults. Well, shame, guilt, and shame, guilt, and needs to be right here, to steal a phrase. But yeah, I think he realizes that was a mistake. I think the Democratic Party realized that mistake, and they are. I will go into it in a future date. The way they use the likes of Scott. Scott Gardner, Dr. Scott Gardner, and also Oprah Winfrey to try to bring young men back into the fold of the Democratic Party that they lost in the last election, needlessly and quite simply carelessly. Let's continue.
And that's this enormous untapped power that we have to get back to.
Ever respectful, Obama saying the party's got to look to the younger candidates who are plugged in.
The current White House, this administration, and their enablers, they're behaving so badly, they're doing such crazy stuff, that it shouldn't be hard for our side to coalesce around the areas where we agree on and focus on that. And I think that that is going to happen if we are effective in winning the midterms.
What did you see him emphasizing there?
Look, I think he's saying what a lot of people already recognize, which is in terms of the midterms, that's going to be largely a referendum off of Trump. But we have a long path forward. Democrats do have a poor approval rating. We have brand problems that need to be fixed. Those aren't just going to fix themselves in a vacuum. I hope that people don't see success in the midterms as some indication that we've solved everything, because we haven't. But he talked about that a little bit, and I'm not sure if you're going to show a subsequent clip where he does discuss a little bit of the infighting, but I think that's going to be it. He has a very particular focus on coalition building as opposed to purity politics, and I think in an era where everybody has a voice, everybody has a platform online, making sure that we can still remember that the goal of politics is actually to build a coalition, to cobble together a big enough coalition to win, to be able to do something, is first and foremost.
Well, let's turn to that, because he discussed it with you at length. He referenced things that people are familiar with, the kind of mood of certain people being a scold, trying to dictate to others what their political morality should be, or this term virtue signaling. And this, I thought, was an interesting exchange. So we cut it at some length. Let's take a look.
Before he gets into that, ladies and gentlemen, you can see by the by one of the captions there before we get into his speech there, is that the Democrats, Obama and leading Democrats are trying to bring the young people into the fold, and by young people they mean young men. I think they've tapped into women participation. I think there are many more candidates and many more pollsters that are many more activists on behalf of the Democratic Party that are still active to this day, but also and also those from the Alphabet Gang, LGBTQ, QIA, HDMI, PS5 community, and also you're looking at minorities, immigrants who are soon becoming the majority. I think that was the coalition of individuals, and but again, young men, especially young white males, were neglected, and I think that's what was swept up by Donald Trump and led to him winning the election, quite simply, and to good effect. But I think that's what Democrats, that's the lacuna the Democrats were missing: young men, and it's a matter of them being brought back to the fore and asked for them to be, quite simply, counted on and depended on, and wanting their vote, and what it would take to get their vote, because it's going to be tough in order to do it, because when Democrats turn their back on these gentlemen, they went a different way. So incentives have to be created so that they do come back. Let's continue.
I think there was a certain way of talking about issues for Democrats where we sounded like scolds. There was a virtue.
This is his mea culpa. Do look out for this. Obama was guilty of this as well. Let's continue.
Signaling that made it seem as if ordinary folks, if they did not say things in exactly the right way or meet this litmus test, that they were being chastised, pushed away. And the truth is, most of us, all of us, are complicated, and we have blind spots, and sometimes we say dumb stuff, and if you want to create an environment that is welcoming and makes people feel, okay, there's room for me here, then the message and the story we tell has to be, all right, none of us are perfect. All of us count. We all have good in us that we can tap into. We can all learn from each other. And I think that is something we need to recover.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that if that is not an apology, I don't know what is. Barack is literally saying that he and many of his Democratic cohorts were guilty of shaming men and shaming young men into voting for the party, including on his part, black men. I remember his stop in Pennsylvania where he so famously stated that if you don't, or to paraphrase, if you don't vote Democrat, then you don't love your black mother, or you don't love your black family, or something to that effect. And that really riled up a lot of black voters, black male voters, because they felt there was no incentives for them to vote for the party. There wasn't any reasons why they should vote for the party, but now that can be said of Republicans. A lot of people abstain from it, and even though the black male voters voted 84% in favor of Kamala Harris, there was a good minority of black men and men in particular who did not vote for Kamala, who thought that she was a substandard candidate, and in turn she lost the election because of it. So this is, the Democratic Party, as he stated, turned their backs on men. They turned their back on young men, who could help shape a party, men who could help shape a nation. And it was as Barack Obama had stated, it was a blind spot. So they did not recognize. They thought that they could win with immigrants, LGBTQ, could win on with women alone. But that was not the case, and they did not realize that male voters and their girlfriends voted the same, and that was for Trump, especially white male voters. So again, this was an issue, and a call to action by Barack to literally say, we made a mistake. We need to change course, and it is us to recognize our failures and our misgivings. Let's continue.
What did you see him hitting there?
I mean, similar to what I was saying before, I think that, at its core, again, politics is about getting enough votes to actually win. And this stuff really does, it's personal for a lot of people. They hold it really, they wear it on their shirt sleeve. And so it's not a surprise that when it comes to these political matters that people will take it personally and they will want to impose litmus tests and they'll, do what they do online these days. But I think it's important to get these reminders from somebody who, doesn't have any skin in the game, but he has a lot of cachet. And so he has the freedom to be able to come out and say this kind of stuff to reroute the party, I think, into a smarter direction as we head toward 2028, even if it's just planting a little bug in our heads to say, like, we are, I'm sure you've heard people say politics is a bus. You're not necessarily going right to your front door. You are taking the bus to the closest destination to where you live, and that's how we have to think of it. We can't let perfect be the enemy of good, and you're going to have people within the coalition who disagree with each other, but it's going to be important to make sure to remember that it is a coalition at the end of the day.
It's interesting coming from him as well, because he's won these campaigns. He doesn't have more to run. So even for people who are skeptical and don't like the message, it's different than some other old school Democrat saying, hey, I don't like this. He's speaking about it from the kind of good faith position within his party of how to win. You guys also touched on the Mom Donnie energy. Take a look.
what happened in our campaign and what you recently saw in Mamdani's campaign in New York.
Yeah.
When there's that sense of joy and engagement and involvement, then people feel like, all right, this is not just some transactional grind. This is me becoming part of a community.
And this is something that could be remembered for the Obama campaign, just to pause it there for a second. There was probably the highest level of joy for a campaign I've ever seen in my lifetime. When Barack ran for his president for the first time. I mean, it was a groundswell of appeal. It was about hope. It was about change. It was about really, it was, Barack sold out, parks, stadiums, everywhere he went. And you could see that, everybody wanted to jump on board the campaign in order to elect Barack Obama, the first African American president in history. And it was, I have yet to see that with any other campaign in history. Maybe the likes of Kennedy in the 60s. No, I'm not that old, but from what I hear, that was indeed the case, especially with a young, vivacious president such as President Kennedy and his campaign and what he brought to the fore, especially when it came to coalescing with civil rights leaders. It was, Barack really, tapped into the zeitgeist, really tapped into what people were feeling, and he won in a landslide. It became one of the better run campaigns in U.S. Political history, and it basically moved him on to two straight electoral terms, and it was nothing like it. It really wasn't anything like it, anything that I've seen before. And Mamdani went on that crest of a wave as well in New York, and it is hoped that someone will take that forward into national politics again. Even though it is hard to have the pulse of a nation like that in full over time. But it is hoped that they can do something akin to that very, very soon, especially in this next election. Let's continue.
Isn't it funny? Because I don't know about you, but like we use this word culture in different ways, but there is a culture of politics, and the idea that what was once the liberal street protests, counterculture energy, say of the 70s, lost sight of that. How did liberals, even sometimes young liberals, get perhaps unfairly caricatured as no fun or hall monitors, and then Mamdani came along and reminded everyone, or you could be like this.
And look, between Mamdani now in 2026 and Obama in 2008, those are parallel campaigns. Those are people whose campaigns actually did inspire hope, as opposed to feeling like, as opposed to feeling like it's the lesser of two evils or whatever it may be, but politics needs to be hopeful. I mean, you are building a culture. I mean, to your exact point, you're building a culture and a community, and people don't want to join a community that is overwhelmingly negative, especially on this side. And so we have like winning formulas right in front of us. Yeah. I don't know how many times we need to be hit over the head with this idea that if you can have a hopeful, inclusive campaign a la Barack Obama in 2008 or Zohran Mamdani in 2026, that the formula is there. We just need people who are willing to like pick up that mantle and not, fall into the DC trap of protecting institutions and processes and norms that those institutions are not the end. They are a means to an end, but the end has to be people. Yeah. It has to be people focused. And that's what Barack Obama's campaign was, 20 years ago almost. And it's what Zohran Mamdani's campaign was just this past year.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for MSN Now for this video regarding Brian T. Cohen. Brian Taylor Cohen is about his Obama interview and the Trump clown show, quite simply, which is just a bit of a slight against Trump and his racist, deeply racist post on Truth Social regarding seeing Barack Obama and Michelle Obama as apes. which is vile in the extreme. But again, back in with Midas Lab. Now, listen, Midas Touch. Now he is a huge political political platform, and he is one who he's a man who's definitely leans left in his outlook, and something that my sister watches all the time, Midas Touch, and he has a great view of how Trump is viewed by the American public and how Obama is revered by the American public. As he has in this video, Trump loses it as Obama gets standing ovation. But we're going to move a little bit. Okay, yes, indeed. We're going to move it a little bit forward, as you've seen most of these things. But he's going to get into the background of why, indeed, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama were so revered at the NBA All-Star game and in the U.S. public life and world public life. Let's continue.
Absolutely losing it as the entire stadium in Inglewood, Los Angeles, erupted in a standing ovation for former President Obama. Donald Trump has completely lost the culture. Everybody's supporting former President Obama. This is what Donald Trump dreams of. Obama got the standing ovation. Donald, do you think you are going to distract from the Epstein files and the fact that you appear over 38,000 times by posting photographs of former President Obama?
Now, this is absolutely disgusting. But this is the real Donald J. Trump, as he said here. This is who he is at his core. Do not get it twisted. He denigrates Barack and Michelle because he can never have their gravitas, never have their celebrity, never have their approval rating, never have their class. Simply put, as much as he tries, as much as he demands and craves it, he has to do stuff like this because he knows there's no beating these two. So why not appeal to our lesser evils rather than to our greater angels? Let's continue.
Obama and Michelle Obama's faces on apes, and you thought we would be, just distracted by that? The Obamas are unfazed. They've called you a clown. They're getting a standing ovation at the NBA All-Star Game. Just watch them on the Jumbotron here, and here they are getting a standing ovation. Here, play this clip. Now let's play that standing ovation for another angle right here.
We're going to move this forward a bit, guys.
Teammates on and off the court. Let's see, what did Donald Trump post on Valentine's Day? Oh, he posted this attack on Bill Maher. It looks like a lunatic wrote it. I want to read it. He's like, Bill Maher came to me and said that he was going to like me, and he looked really nervous. But then Bill Barr ended up trashing me on TV. And then I said, dude, shut up. And then Donald Trump's like, and I said to Canada, you're going to lose ice hockey because China's going to steal your ice hockey. And I was clearly joking about it. Donald, just get in life, man. You're weird, you're deranged, you're unhinged, you're a racist, you're a felon, you're a sexual abuser, you're a fraud, you are a phony. And even MAGA sees right now that you're covering up a child sex trafficking ring. Your name appears more in the Epstein files than the name Harry in Harry Potter, more than Jesus or God appears in the frickin' Bible. What else are we learning as well? Oh, more references to Donald Trump are being uncovered in the Epstein files. Like, how about this email? Have you seen this one? Sent June 8th, 2018. This is from Jeffrey Epstein to a guy named Andres Serrano, an artist. Here's what Epstein writes. One Madonna on the way. Instead of torture photo, maybe portrait of me instead. Presentation of Trumpville. Torture photos, presentation of Trumpville. How about this? From William Riley, a private investigator, to Epstein, April 18th, 2011. Before I call Trump, with regard Virginia, are there any alternatives? How about this email right here? Jeffrey Epstein to Jess Staley's daughter, former top banker at JP Morgan. Then he became the CEO of Barclays. And Epstein is speaking to Jess, and Staley resigned in disgrace from Barclays as his connections with Epstein were uncovered. And then this is Epstein writing to Jess Staley's daughter. Could you ask if he would like to be considered for Treasury? He's saying, can you ask your dad if he would like to be considered as the next Treasury Secretary? Because Epstein was apparently involved with Bannon in picking Donald Trump's cabinet like Treasury Secretary. And then Staley's daughter says, just spoke with him. He said, not yet, but thanks. That's how Donald Trump's cabinet was picked, by the way, with Epstein. Quick, we go back to Obama first.
Wow, that is listen. When you take more losses than wins in your presidency, that's a problem. There's a problem going on with the Trump administration. Yes, the diehards will always support Trump, whether he likes it or not, because he speaks to their true sensibilities, if you know what I mean, sensibilities. But when you quite simply are taking L's everywhere through Epstein, through your comments on Canada-U.S. relations, through your comments through your ICE representative denominations and demonstrations, through what you say about Obama, what's happening in the economy. It is not the greatest of presidents happening for Donald Trump, and it'll be reflected in the midterm elections in the United States. Donald's not doing well. Donald's not doing well at all. He's getting it at all sides, and you'll see what his mea culpa was today, in fact. And not only that, certain friends of his, certain compatriots of his that were colleagues through their linkage with their association with Jeffrey Epstein, including Prince Andrew, who has been arrested today by the Metropolitan Police and by MI6. It's not looking good, bro. It's not looking good with Prince Andrew being stripped of his powers and now be considered a lay person who's brother to the king. The full force of law, and I don't think he's going to go to jail, but the full force of law will be faced by none other than Prince Andrew, who was a friend of Jeffrey Epstein and was and who had basically R-worded the likes of Victoria Guthrie, who committed suicide earlier on this year and late last year. And again, my condolences to her family. Listen, we all know he's in the Epstein files. There's no doubt about that. He's thousands of pages have been redacted simply because they include Trump's name. We all know he's there. He's trying to deflect and distract, and this is of no good. This does not do good for his reputation, not only domestically but worldwide. Let's continue.
Second, getting standing ovations. Let me share this with you. This was an interview that was just released between former President Obama and my friend Brian Tyler Cohen. And Obama, it talks about Donald Trump doing the ape photo posting by Donald Trump. And here's what Obama says, that he still sees a lot of hope. Play this clip.
First of all, I think it's important to recognize that the majority of the American people find this behavior deeply troubling. It is true that it gets attention. It's true that it's a distraction. But, as I'm traveling around the country, as you're traveling around the country, you meet people. They still believe in decency, courtesy, kindness. And there's this sort of clown show that's happening in social media and on television. And what is true is that there doesn't seem to be any shame about this among people who used to feel like you had to have some sort of decorum and a sense of propriety and respect for the office, right? So that's been lost. But the reason I point out that I don't think the majority of the American people approve of this is because ultimately the answer is going to come from the American people. And we just saw this in Minnesota, in Minneapolis.
And former President Obama posted this: watching the NBA All-Star Game and Team USA at the Winter Olympics, it's clear that sports, just like music and art, still has the power to bring us together, build community, and remind us of our common humanity. Let's play this clip right here.
Sports can bring the world together, but right now we're in the middle of the Olympics. It's worth reminding us, we saw it in Paris, that when you watch the U.S. team and play in Paris, and the Serbian teams and the French teams, and you're reminded of what the Dream Team did to inspire all that, and you saw the French fans when Steph was hitting those threes, and they're mad, but they can't be too mad because it is such a...
It's art.
It's art, and it's joy, and it binds us together to see human excellence in that way. That's only sports and music and the arts can do that. To bind us together, to remind us of our common humanity. That's something we want to preserve and build on.
It's something that, Barack Obama oozes class. He just does. He simply does, no matter if you like him or if you don't. If you like his politics or you do not. The fact of the matter is Barack Obama is one of the classiest individuals you'll find in politics, if not in the modern day. And it's people don't see eye to eye. Totally fine. You may not agree with his politics. Totally fine. But the way he carries himself, the way he comports himself on the world stage is something to behold and something to take heed of and to use as an example of how we should carry ourselves. And it is he's definitely one of my heroes. Certain elements of his politics I tend not to agree with, but on the whole, with the majority, he is a man that he is a person of and a statesman of simple, erudite knowledge and expertise and excellence, and we should be treated as such. And he reminds the world how the U.S. politics should be carried on, conveyed, and practiced year on year. Let's continue.
And there was this amazing moment where Anthony Edwards spoke candidly about what it means to play in front of President Obama. As this account says, can you imagine any athlete saying this about Trump from Democratic Wins Media? Here, play this clip right here.
I know you've met him before, but the President Obama was here. Yeah. The Obamas was here. Did that give you any extra motivation to play any harder tonight?
Yeah, for sure. You always got to put on the show for... He my favorite person in the world. We was kicking it yesterday. Me and him, I had a great time yesterday. So I told him I was going to put on the show for him.
Well, Donald Trump was spending the weekend golfing. That's Donald Trump with Liz Truss, the former UK prime minister who sent the UK markets into tanked the markets. I see two losers right there. And speaking of two losers, three losers, four losers. Dr. Oz, we learned, invited... I think it's worth to note on Valentine's Day that Dr. Oz invited Epstein to a Valentine's Day party. So we got Lutnick going to bring children to the island. Oz inviting Epstein to Valentine's Day parties. Again, Trump's White House is the center of this entire cabal right here. And then, as you now know, and I reported over the...
Donald Trump is the lightning rod of controversy. And he cannot seem to catch a break. Let's play devil's advocate here. He can't seem to, break free from any sort of drama, any sort of scandal, any sort of controversy, and there's good reason because he lived a life in which he thought the rules didn't apply to him, and he thought he was above the law, and he partied with people who thought who were of the same mindset. It just so happens that the law came for him. He's now a convicted felon. Yet he's the first convicted felon who's held the office of the White House. So, listen, Donald Trump has, he went counterculture and he won elections and he won double elections. So, but credit to him on his second election. That's to be fair and frank. He ran a tremendous campaign in last year to win the office. But he's always been a person who cannot remain positive for the long term, and he'll always be surrounded by negative publicity. And gone are the days of him running The Apprentice. Gone are the days where he was considered, one of the more popular people in the United States. And it's simply because he doesn't choose to live by the rules or play by the game, and he's there for his own aggrandizement, and his own, wealth accumulation. And it's a shame that he has to beg for appeal, but that's the only way he's going to get any appeal outside of his normal conservative constituency. Let's continue.
Weekend, Donald Trump released a fake Epstein list, right? You know the story that the DOJ released what it said were the politically exposed persons list. And in order to muddy the waters, they put Trump's name and people who were involved actually in a bad way with Epstein. But then they include names like Janis Joplin and Elvis Presley and Marilyn Monroe and Dan Quayle, and they just put in a bunch of names like that in order to kind of obfuscate and just to make people not believe that the Epstein files and the lists are real. I mean, again, it's just such utterly despicable and horrible conduct by this regime.
It's ridiculous.
We also learned that Steve Bannon and Epstein were working behind the scenes with others in the Trump regime to bring down former Pope Francis, and they were finding ways to blackmail and go after former Pope Francis. I mean, you don't get much more despicable than this. It's Donald Trump's post this weekend. He goes, "The Democrats refuse to vote for voter ID. The reason is simple. They want to continue to cheat in elections. There will be voter ID for the midterms, whether approved by Congress or not." And then over the weekend, too, you had Kristi Noem talking about, we're going after certain types of voters. We're going to go after these voters. Remember what Kristi Noem said? And here's how Tom Homan responded to it. Here, play this clip.
DHS Secretary Noem made some comments that Democratic leader Schumer just commented on earlier in the show. I want to play them for you.
It may be one of the most important things that we need to make sure we trust is reliable, and that when it gets to election day that we've been proactive to make sure that we have the right people voting, electing the right leaders to lead this country.
Well, we know what that is. That's all about gerrymandering. That's all about simply taking people off the voters list because he knows that a majority on behalf of Donald Trump has to be, cut and contrived and literally, made out of thin air because it is that close. So he'll go under within any margin. He'll look under any loophole in order to try to sustain his power. And believe me, he's going to try and seek a third term. He really is going to try and seek a third term, even if it happens to be J.D. Vance and he playing the background, maybe as vice president. We'll see, and him being president. So using a play that Vladimir Putin has used himself. So don't be surprised if you see Donald J. Trump here for a third term. Let's continue.
So what does she mean when she says electing the right leaders? That's not really immigration enforcement or DHS responsibility.
I don't know. That'd be a question for the secretary. If I had to guess, probably that only those legally eligible to vote would vote. But I have not talked to the secretary about those statements. That'd be something she'd have to answer.
And just the more gaslighting from Trump's border czar Tom Homan this weekend. Here, let's play this clip.
When they say stop racial profiling, that's just not occurring. I mean, and you know, ICE will briefly detain and question somebody based on reasonable suspicion. It has nothing to do with racial profiling. As far as the mask, look, you know, I don't like the masks either, but because threats against ICE officers, are up over 1,500%. Actual assaults and threats are up over 8,000%. These men and women have to protect themselves. As far as identifying themselves, they all have placards identifying themselves as ICE, ERO, HSI, DEA, FBI. So they all have placards on them. So I'll let the White House and members of Congress, fight that out. But I think some of the asks are just, I think they're unreasonable.
And I'll show you one more clip from this weekend. Let's play it.
Wasn't.
What's so wrong about obtaining a judicial warrant to enter private property?
That's not what the federal law requires. Congress themselves wrote the Immigration Nationality Act that gave power.
Okay, let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. That goes into more political rhetoric and such. We're gonna skip these few here, but yes, let's hear from the ground. Let's hear from the American people how they deem Donald J. Trump, as seen here by CBC News.
I love my country, and I hate what is happening to it.
He's a grifter, liar, manipulator. Seeing the treatment of American citizens is concerning.
He's the best one we've had since Ronald Reagan.
We came to North Carolina to visit some small and rural communities considered Trump country to get a better sense of how the president's supporters are feeling.
I think he's doing all right.
I think he's doing a great job. I think he's listening to the people, and I think he does what the people say.
So how do Donald Trump supporters feel about his handling of controversial issues? Let's start with immigration.
I don't think anybody wishes that anyone would have been killed, but the reality is that there's that situation that is developing in Minneapolis where ICE is trying to conduct their lawful duties. They have to do that. It's not optional for them.
The protesters are just idiots. I hate people get killed, but if you act like a fool, you get treated like a fool.
Those people were in these groups that were taught to go out and harass the ICE people. I mean, they're helping their communities be safer by getting those people out.
Oh, he's doing a fine job. He had to come in and straighten out a lot of mess.
Is there anything that stands out to you that you like most about what he's doing?
I like the fact that he can't be controlled.
When it comes to Canada, voters here view Trump's threats as a joke, and some are even aware of the Alberta separation movement. What do you think about how Trump has talked about Canada?
I think it's funny. I think he's doing it to get a reaction out of people. If you live in Alberta, I support you.
Oh, Alberta separation.
A lot of us down here refer to them as Snow Texas. They share a lot of the common values that I would associate with American values. Whether they want to be an independent state or if they wanted to join the union, then I would be cool with that.
Voters here who support Democrats tell us with everything that's gone on so far this year, it's only hardened their opposition.
It's very depressing and concerning, especially with all the corruption and the disgusting people he's pardoned.
We love Canada.
Yep.
That's all.
To Trump with the tariffs, you guys buy from somebody else, punish him for being an idiot. Thank you, Canada. We love you.
I never expected this, right? It's terrifying. You read about this stuff, you learn about it. It's part of history.
When does the time come that we rise up? We're looking at things that are happening in Minneapolis and Minnesota and around the country with ICE and the thuggishness and what I perceive to be nation fascism. Now, am I on the cusp of arming myself and rising up? No. But the fact that I asked the question is horrifying.
Before he got in office, all those criminals.
All right, so there it is. There's across, it's a WASP view, to be fair, of how Trump is viewed in the United States, especially with regards to his politics, especially with regards to his foreign relations. I mean, he's very much like Marmite. Either love him or hate him, and never the twain shall meet. So thank you very much for CBC News for that little blurb there. But just getting back to Donald Trump here, Donald Trump realized he made a huge mistake with regards to the posts regarding the Obamas and depicting them as apes and leaving it up for 12 hours. So he decided to have a sort of an apology meeting with the Republican Black Caucus and some of his supporters to celebrate Black History Month, ladies and gentlemen, because Lord knows you have to you have to say sorry somehow. And so he's done it here at the White House. Actually, just today. This just happened today, February 18th, 2026. Yes. No, that was yesterday. This is just yesterday. Sorry. February 18th, 2026, in regards to his celebration of Black History Month. Now, if he wasn't vilified for his post on True Social regarding the Obamas, this would have never happened. But this is very, very much impromptu, very, very much his way of saying sorry, his way of trying to, separate himself from the disaster that he has caused within within his own constituency, within his own Republican Black voters and politicians and the like. And this is a shameless. It's shameless, a shameless appearance here just to try and get Black voters back on his side. And we're just going to show a few highlights, and it's this sort of thing that that shows how much asses that Trump has to kiss in order to get it back into a certain group's good graces. But believe me, if he wasn't called out for his depiction of the Obamas that he posted on True Social, believe me, this would have never happened. Let's continue.
This is a nice full room. We have a ballroom being built right now. So in about a year and a half, we'll be able to have about, I'd say, 10 times the number. You can invite some friends that couldn't make it today because, frankly, this was a sold-out crowd. Has been ever since I've been president. Every year it's been sold out. So a lot of great friends. Hello and welcome you to the White House on this very special occasion. It is indeed. I've been at every one of them, and we celebrate the 100th anniversary of Black History Month. That's a big deal. 100. Wow. That's sort of special, the 100th. That's about like 150 is good, but 200 is better, right? 100 is better. I want to begin by expressing our sadness at the passing of a person who I knew very well. Jesse was a piece of work, I want to tell you. He was a piece of work, but he was a good man. He was a real hero, and I just want to pay my highest respects to Reverend Jesse Jackson. Right? He's a good man. He was actually...
Okay, dignity. I'll give him this. He did recognize the passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson, and give him his due on that. He didn't have to do it. He could have rolled on with what he had to say, but again, he's he's done the right thing here, but among many of his wrong things, let's face facts. But he is trying to bring Black voters back on side, especially core Republicans. Let's continue.
As you got to know him, he got better and better all the time. A lot of people, you get to know him, they get worse and worse. Jesse got better and better. But I knew him well long before becoming president, and he really was special with lots of personality, grit, and street smarts. You would say Jesse had serious street smarts, right? A very important ingredient to life, I will tell you. He was gregarious and someone who truly loved people and a force of nature. He was somebody that we're going to greatly miss. And on behalf of everyone here today, I know you join me in sending our condolences to the entire family. Got a great family. We're also honored to be joined this afternoon by many exceptional African-American leaders and patriots, including Secretary Scott Turner, recommended. Where is Scott? Where is Scott? Will you come up here, Scott? He was recommended by somebody who's very special to me, Ben Carson. Ben Carson. Where's Ben? Where's Ben? Come on up here, Ben. Come here. I got to get here. And his wonderful wife, Candy. Candy, I'm going to steal Ben for a second because, Ben recommended Scott. And when Ben recommends somebody, I just do it. Did I make a good decision? Be careful. Don't fall, Ben. If you fall, that's the end. You can never recover from a fall. If you can make the greatest speech ever, but if you fall, My predecessor taught me that. So is Scott doing a good job, Ben?
He's doing the best job ever.
Come on, say that. I like that.
You know, one of the reasons I was so high on Scott Turner is he was really the driving force behind the opportunity zones, which doesn't get nearly the attention that it should, but it was because President Trump realized that the best way to get things done is through public-private partnerships and have everybody with skin in the game. And it is working, as are all the other things that he's been recommending. And at some point, the mainstream media will recognize that you don't politicize everything. You open your eyes and your ears, and you look and you see what works, and you deal with that. But the best thing about Scott, he's got a lot of energy. You know, I'm an old man now. I'll be 75 on my next birthday. And I'm not like President Trump. He just goes forever. But no one else is like that. But Scott Turner, we call him the Energizer Bunny, and he is doing a fantastic job. And I want to congratulate all the people at HUD because most of them have come back and continued with what we were doing during the first Trump term, and it's fantastic.
So I'm gonna leave it right here, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, you see Ben Carson and Scott Taylor. I mean, it's Donald Trump saving face. We're gonna leave this look back right here, and we're just gonna close out full camera here, and let's call it a spade. Let's keep it a buck. Donald Trump has a lot to make up for in terms of his the way he carries himself, the way that Barack Obama did. I don't think he can ever be such an individual because the amount of mistakes, the litany of errors that befall him are quite certainly plain to see, and he keeps on having to save face in order to get back in the good books of the American public. Now, again, he's still widely popular with those of his constituents. He's a very popular president with them, but his approval ratings have tanked. The economy has so as well. His international relations are, they are in the toilet. Especially relations with us here in Canada. And quite simply, he is, he's followed by a scandal that will be, basically the legacy of his presidency for years to come, and that being the Epstein files. And and he's never too far away from controversy. He can't seem to clean up his act, and the only way he can do so is to tear down one of the great presidents of the modern era, and that is Barack Obama. And it's a shame he has to do that. He can't do it through his good works, but again, here we are. And he went to the depths of depravity in order to treat Obama as chimps, but like a rising phoenix, the Obamas rose above. When they go low, they went high, and quite simply, he is deserving of our praise and adulation. And no matter what Donald J. Trump tries to do, he'll never reach said heights, especially with the American public and around the world. So kudos to the Obamas. Donald has a long way to go, and quite simply, I think he can never match the 44th president of the United States and family. Thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. We're going to leave it right there. Comment down below on your sentiments about Barack Obama and or Donald Trump, and if any president measures up. And listen, I'll take all views. If you like Donald Trump more, please let me know. If you like Barack Obama more, please let me know. I am open to all viewpoints. I think Donald J. Trump ran a tremendous campaign the last election by looking at men and seeing their neglect and bringing them within the fold, and he won a quite simply better campaign. But unfortunately, he's never too far from controversy. He's a convicted felon. He's I would say a cottage racist, and quite simply, he is never too far away from scandal. And we here at Talk Live just want Barack Obama to know that he is recognized, he is loved here despite his politics. And by the way, he as the one and only Martin J. Luther King once said, through the not through the color of his skin, but through the content of his character. And it is hoped that that the Obamas keep showing us how to carry ourselves, comport ourselves with dignity, respect, and class. And I hope that you enjoyed tonight's show as much as I like giving reverence to the one and only 44th President of the United States, Barack Obama. Thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live. We'll be back with another show tomorrow night. I am debating between either Corey Holcomb and the updates from that, or another candidate for a show that's recently on my radar. But we'll reveal that in the promos tomorrow night. Do look out for IG and YouTube for said promos, and again, we'll be uploading more Talk Live minutes shortly. But thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live. Like, subscribe, comment, please. I'm loving your comments. I'm loving your likes. I'm loving your the way you're putting things out there and supporting the show. And I'm going to keep doing these things, and I look forward to your support very soon. And comments down below your feelings about this show and sentiment, and I look forward to seeing you guys very, very soon. I'll see you tomorrow night, and thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live. We'll say goodnight from IG, and we'll say goodnight on YouTube. And